This is a conversation that goes back to the most fundamental questions. What is life? This conversation brings into the topic of whether a woman really has control over her own body and what she chooses to happen to it. This conversation brings to the table whether there really is a separation of church and state. This conversation is about choice. Most societies are a patriarchy, male dominated decisions made by males for the benefit of males and only males. Tell me, how does a person who has never had to go through the same struggles as a specific group make laws and rules designed for that specific group? No difference of opinion, no outside source, nobody who can relate. Men have had a messy history of thinking that they are superior. If I don't look like them or behave like them or think like them, then I'm inferior, and thus the are to be made up to them. And that's exactly what they have been. Decisions, not discussions, not conversations, decisions. Based off of what I want and what I feel is good for you, I'm going to make this decision. Going back to some of the most ancient civilizations and even down to today, many feel like a woman's role is to be subservient and support the man. The woman handles the home and the children, while men are the decision makers that can actually go out in society and make things that the society deems as a contribution to the world. And while it's true, the world is changing for the better. Women can vote, divorce, work, own property, all these amazing things. But there's still the underlying knowledge that a woman must work twice as hard and keep their composure twice as much, even under extreme disrespect and pressure, just to have a seat at the table. Things are getting better, but in recent years, there's been a call to arms about a certain topic: abortion. Some see it as murder, whether it's as soon as it's conceived that it's a human or at a certain time mark that it's a human. Um, they feel like terminating that pregnancy is murder. Truthfully, most conversations that I've had with people about this who have a different stance to me bring to the table the conversation about the Bible, that God would not approve of it or how it's murder in his eyes. I actually had a personal experience of taking one of my friends to get birth control, of all things, at Planned Parenthood. And outside was a horde of angry, judgmental people who was urging us to change our minds and how God would never forgive her, how she's murdering an innocent life, jumping to a conclusion. So, me being me, I asked one of the people, God doesn't like fornication, right? But there's no punishment for that. God doesn't like murder. Yet religious leaders bless people before going into war. You can't pick and choose when you want to abide by biblical laws only when it benefits you. And using religion as a guise to further aid and push along your agenda just doesn't work. And then we have not even brought to the conversation that, believe it or not everybody has the same beliefs as you, and that's okay. Most lawmakers and main argument has been the underlying argument of the Bible. I find it interesting that we're supposed to do everything by the Constitution, except when it interferes with your agenda, like church versus state. Then this argument brings into question, is a woman truly in control over her own body? We have so many cases of where women are just objectified and treated less than human beings. So what happens if a woman gets pregnant and doesn't want to keep the child? Will the same people who want her to keep this fetus take time off of school and work? Will they help with money and appointments and clothes and necessities for the child? Will they be there emotionally for the mother as she goes through these underlying crazy changes in her body and her life, mentally, physically? Will they deliver the child and raise the child? If not, will they contribute and try to reform and help foster care? Millions of children are in foster care, and it's a lot of times a terrible thing to go through. You can't want to solve a problem but not come up with a solution. I feel like my stance on this argument is pretty clear. There are women who've gone through things that make them not want to keep the child. Some may be younger, some may be older. Some may be for personal, some may be for medical. Some may use this option more freely than others, and that will always be a conversation as goes to any law or provision. But to say that I cannot do something with my own body that I feel is need to be done is not only unconstitutional, but it's wrong. And here's the thing. If abortion is made illegal, abortions won't stop. Safe and legal ones will. That didn't stop when prohibition, people kept drinking. There's so many instances where people have found a way to get what they want, even if it is legal. And so this brings to the question, when is life sacred? What really is life? Is the life of a cluster of cells more important than a life of a grown woman? This is something we really need to figure out for ourselves and as a country.